The gods of Igbo land. Right. This is a story of a kingdom called Omora. So let's get started. Hello, welcome back to Jack&wealth. This is an episode of In the Heart of Uloma, a small, verdant village nestled in the lush village of Igbo land. The people worshipped a god called Chukwu, the Supreme Being. The belief Chukwu spoke through Allah, the earth goddess, and other less god who covered nature, family, and destiny entirely. Then among the villagers was a spirited young girl named Amaka, whose faith in the gods was unshakable as the mountains surrounded the village. Amaka grew up listening to tales of how gods protected her ancestors and also provided for their needs. Her late grandmother, Nika, had often told her, "The gods are always listening. My child, when you call with a pure heart, they surely answer." But when Amaka turned 15, her family faced a series of misfortunes. Their crops failed, her father fell gravely ill, her younger brother was accused of theft and imprisoned in their neighboring town. With no one to turn to, Amaka decided to take her grandma's advice. She visited the village shrine and prayed fervently to Chukwu and Allah, offering kola nuts and palm wine as sacrifices before the altar. "Chukwu, great and mighty, who sees all and knows all, hear my plea," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "Restore my family and deliver us from these trials." To her astonishment, things began to change. Rain fell, reviving their withered crops. Her father's health improved overnight, and her brother, who was initially accused of theft, was released. After the real thief was caught, the villagers marveled at the miracles, calling her Chukwu's own daughter. But years passed, and Amaka continued to thrive. She attributed her success to the God's favor, praying and offering sacrifices regularly. But one day, tragedy struck again. A mysterious illness swept through the village, claiming lives, including her mother's. Amaka prayed, but this time, the gods seemed silent. The Dibia prepares a powerful ritual to commune with Chukwu and Allah on Amaka's behalf. This involves offerings of yam, coconut, kola nut, and sacrifice of a white fowl. Amaka is instructed to stand in silence while the ritual is being performed. This is part 2 of the silent gods. Amaka's faith began to waver as silence of the gods stretched on. She remembered the times Chukwu and Allah had answered her cries with swift miracles, but now her prayer seems to dissolve into the air. Despite her doubts, she continued her rituals, lighting candles, pouring libations, and whispering fervent words at the village shrine, as she believed this was the only way her Chukwu could hear her. So one day, as she prayed for her blind sister, her hands trembling over the sacrificial offerings, a dark thought entered her mind. What if the gods are no longer with me? The thought engraved at her, threatening to unravel the hope she hung onto. The villagers noticed her change. Perhaps Amaka has lost favor with Chukwu, they murmured. Even the Dibia, once her guide, began to avoid her. Yet, Amaka refused to give up. She trekked to the sacrifice grove, seeking answers from the spirit, said to dwell there, determined not to give up. Days and nights, she sat beneath the ancient Iroko tree, calling out to the gods. The air grew still. The forest unraveling, quiet, as though even nature refused to answer her. On the final night, as her voice cracked with desperation, she saw a faint, flickering light at a distance. Following it, she came upon a mirror-like pool. She peeped into it. She did not see her reflection, but a vision of herself carrying a lantern and the dark. A voice whispered, "The gods are within. When we grow silent, it's for you to find your own light." Amaka's search for answers. As Amaka begins to feel abandoned by her gods, she recounts the miracles of the past, how Chuku had healed her father, saved her crops, and brought justice for her family as well. But now, her life is unraveling again. Her sister Nneka grows gravely ill, and the village harvest is failing despite her prayers and offerings. There is no divine response. Amaka wrestles with doubt. Soon.